Hello. This is
Hello.
for our grandchildren and other children that we love.
Young
Yeah.
knuckleheads.
Yeah. Today's lesson is when a good guy becomes a bad guy.
What? What do you mean when a friend does something mean to you?
That's exactly what I mean, Poppy.
Oh,
And that is in our story this week for Jesus Week because it happened to Jesus more than once, actually. You know, there were those chief priests that stayed at the temple all the time, and they were like in charge of the temple, and everybody thought they were good guys.
those guys again.
Those guys,
Yeah.
they did not like Jesus. They wanted to get rid of him. He was a problem to them.
Why would they not like Jesus?
I know, right? He was healing people and doing all great things, and everybody loved him.
Yes.
That could be why.
Mm.
Maybe they were jealous of him. I don't know, but they just did not like him, and they wanted him gone.
Sounds like jealous.
When they were talking about that, one day, one of Jesus' disciples came up to them.
Disciples were his friends?
Yeah, one of his 12.
Oh,
In
no.
fact, this guy, Judas, is the one who handled the money for the 12. I mean, he was well trusted.
I've heard that name before, Judas.
He came up to the chief priest and he said, "How much would you give me if I turned Jesus over to you? Because I'm one of his friends and I could find him at a time when there aren't too many people around."
That's terrible.
It was terrible. And they said, "Well, we'll give you 30 pieces of silver."
Is that a lot?
Not really.
Hmm.
You could buy, back then they had slaves, which is a terrible thing, but you could buy a slave for 30 pieces of silver. And Judas said, "All right, I'll do it. I'll be in touch. I'll let you know when's a good time."
Hmm.
And Judas went out. Now, the thing to know is that Jesus was God's son, and he knows everybody's hearts. So he knew that Judas' heart was not good, and that it was bad, and that it had turned.
Did he hate him?
You're going to find that out.
Oh, okay.
Well, somewhere around Wednesday or so on Jesus Week, Jesus had two of his disciples go into town, and he said, "You're going to find a guy carrying a pot. I want you to go follow the guy." I mean, he's God. He knows these things, you know? And so you go follow the guy and ask him if we can use his house for Passover.
What's Passover?
Passover was like their special dinner that they had. It celebrated a wonderful time in Jewish history.
Like Thanksgiving or something?
Kind of like that, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so they had a huge dinner, and everybody stayed, and everybody was together. It was really cool. And the guy said, "Yeah, I have this room up here. Do you like it? If you like it, it's yours. I'd be glad to give it to Jesus."
That's nice.
Yeah, he was a good guy. So the disciples got set up for the meal, and they remembered everything. Everything that they had to have, they remembered except for one thing.
What's that?
Well, those people would walk around in sandals, and their feet would get really dusty and dirty, and there would usually be a servant there to wash the feet.
Sounds like that's a
There
nasty
was
job.
no servant there, and none of the disciples wanted to do it.
I bet.
Peter, James, John, no, I'm not washing no feet, right? And Judas, he wasn't going to do it either. So you know who did it?
Who?
Jesus.
Jesus washed their nasty feet? I thought he was the boss.
He was the boss. He is the boss.
He is the boss.
He's God's
yeah.
son, and he's getting down on his hands and knees, washing their feet.
Wow.
And then afterwards, he said to them, "Do you know why I did this for you?" And they're all kind of looking at him like, "Why?"
Why? Yes.
Yeah.
Why?
And he said, "Because I love you, and when you love people, you do things for people, even if they're disgusting things like cleaning up their vomit or washing their feet.
Wow.
You do those things because you love him." And Jesus was just like love all by itself. He was a good guy that never went bad.
He wants us to do stuff like that too?
He does.
Mm.
He does. And you know whose feet he washed?
Who?
Judas's.
The guy who was going to betray him?
Yeah, and he knew it too. He knew that Judas was going to betray him. He
Wow,
washed his feet
Jesus.
anyway. And he said, "I've set an example for you. I want you guys to be like me in this."
That is some example.
And then he couldn't keep it to himself anymore. He said, "I want to tell you guys something. One of you is going to betray me."
So he knew.
He knew. And so they're looking around at each other going, "Who is it? Who is it?"
Not me, Jesus.
And Peter goes to John, "Ask him who it is."
Who is it, Jesus?
That's exactly what John did. And Jesus said, "It's the one when I dip the bread and I give it to him. It's him." And he dipped the bread, and he gave it to
Judas.
Judas. And then he looked at Judas and he says, whatever you have to do, hurry up and do it.
Mm.
And Judas left.
To go do that terrible thing.
And the Bible says he went out into the night. And there's more to this story, but I'm not going to tell you now. You have to wait.
Oh, gotta wait. Okay, I want to hear the rest.
Yeah, so what can we learn from this?
That friends can turn on you, and somebody you trusted can do a horrible thing.
Right. And Jesus didn't get him back about it either. That's the thing, that's the amazing thing. And he can make us be loving like that too.
I love Jesus.
I love Jesus too. He's a good guy.
All right.
All right. See you later.
Bye-bye.